Hello, good morning everyone. I'm very, very pleased to see you all here. I was actually expecting like a crowd of 10, maybe 15 people, since it's the bull market, bear market, and blockchain and cryptocurrency space is not really a hot topic today. So thank you all for attending. Hopefully we will give you an interesting day, since it's the first blockchain day at risk, and hopefully there will be many more in the future, and we will have more bigger rooms and fully packed audience. For starters, I would like to shortly introduce myself. My name is Jure Pierce. I've been in cryptocurrency space for approximately 5 years now. Aside from sidelining it with view only for an extra year or so, I am currently in my third term as president of Bitcoin Association Slovenia, and I'm trying my best to connect local entrepreneurs, system builders, cryptocurrency projects, and the general community of Slovenia to get those first steps into the cryptocurrency space done right. We will kick off today's event with a short video from one of our primary sponsors. So Roger Ware will be giving you a warm welcome with the video. We will kickstart the conference.
We'll start from the beginning now.
Hello everyone, I'm Roger Beard, the CEO of Bitcoin.com. I'm very sorry I couldn't be there in person with you all today at BlockchainDay 2019 in Slovenia, but I've been to Slovenia multiple times, and I'm sure I'll be here multiple times in the future, and I look forward to being there at some other point in the future. But it's really exciting that people all over the world, and even Slovenia, from Tokyo to Slovenia, people are aware of just how important of a world-changing technology this is for people all over the world, regardless of where they're born or where they're living currently. So really excited to be a part of that with all of you. And I want to give special thanks to Real Security as the organizer of this conference, and of course BC Vault as the hardware wallet sponsor of this event. So if you're not already familiar with them, take a look and check it out. And I look forward to being able to join you guys all there in person the next year for this. But stay right where you are. I have a special message that I had to record for you guys as well. But there's a lot of exciting stuff happening, and there's an extra special message at the end of that. So see you on the other side. Topics we're going to cover is an introduction, the history, the economics, the present, the future, and just some final thoughts. So, of course, we'll have to start out with what is Bitcoin. I'm sure lots of people think they know what Bitcoin is, but let's take a look at the original white paper, right? The original white paper written by Satoshi Nakamoto. It's very, very clear in the very title is that Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. That means it's money for the world, right? For digital payments, online payments, right? You can buy and sell things with your Bitcoin. That was the very goal of Bitcoin from day one. Bitcoin is not a company. It is not centrally controlled. It is not a proprietary system. It's not tied to any location or jurisdiction, and it's not still the only cryptocurrency. When Bitcoin first started, it was the only cryptocurrency. Now there's thousands and thousands of different cryptocurrencies around the world, all competing for market share. And it's worth pointing out that Bitcoin is a technology. It is a protocol. It is a network. It's a system that enables much, much more than anything. The sum is greater than the pieces that it's built with. So it's enabling all sorts of things all over the world. And most importantly, Bitcoin is the world's first scarce digital good. Before the invention of Bitcoin, everybody thought it was impossible to have digital scarcity. Well, Bitcoin figured out how to do it. And Bitcoin was invented or came into the world in 2009, but it's something that people have been thinking about since 1999 and even earlier. And it was clearly predicted in books like Cryptonomicon by Neil Stephenson, and it was predicted by people like Milton Friedman, where they very, very clearly described the ways in which the world was going to change and the advent of Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin, and I had been reading both of these books as a young man, and finally when Bitcoin came along, it was like, oh, finally now we have, as Milton Friedman put it, we have a method where on the internet you can transfer funds from A to B without A knowing B or B knowing A. Well, Bitcoin's here, and now the thing that Milton Friedman and Neil Stephenson and many others have been thinking about, it was finally here, and it was called Bitcoin, and it started to spread all over the world. So in 2009, it launched as an open source peer-to-peer electronic cash system, right? Meaning it was for payments, for people to buy and sell things and send money to and from each other. And we saw that start by, in 2010, the very first basic marketplaces formed. and the price of BTC, Bitcoin, right, started to rise. And the first example of that, of course, was the world famous Silk Road. So, and in 2011, we saw it get more and more traction and attention and people around the world. And we've all seen charts like this of Bitcoin before, where the price runs up and goes crazy and then drops back down again. But if you look really, really closely at this chart, you'll notice the price is running up from less than $1 a Bitcoin to about $30 a Bitcoin. And that was way back in 2011. I remember when that happened for the first time. It was so incredibly exciting to see the price of Bitcoin go up to $30 a Bitcoin for the first time. And drop all the way back down to $2 and some change again. So yeah, Bitcoin is down a lot, but it's not the first time it's happened. But the big difference with the current downtrend is it's the first time ever in the entire history of Bitcoin in which the transactional throughput capacity of Bitcoin was limited by the blocks becoming full. So that's a very, very big difference with the 2018 correction versus the 2011, 2013, and 2015 corrections. This time I do think is a bit different. But anyhow, on to 2012, first time in the world, thousands of merchants around the world began accepting Bitcoin. BitcoinStore.com is near and dear to my heart because I started it back in 2012 before we had the overstocks, the Newegg's, the Dells, the Tiger Directs. We had BitcoinStore.com with more than 500,000 consumer electronics products available for Bitcoin only. No credit cards, no PayPal, no anything else. And we literally sold millions of dollars of computer parts for prices mainly cheaper than Amazon via BitcoinStore.com. That's really what helped kick off this worldwide merchant adoption, thanks to services like BitPay that made it easy to actually accept Bitcoin on websites. And we were using Magento back then, another open source piece of software. And then in 2013, we saw the price of Bitcoin surpass $1,000 for the first time, and hundreds of startups began building on top of the Bitcoin protocol. And the total VC investment in all of cryptocurrency for 2013 was $98 million. $25 million of that was from Coinbase alone. Now you have single ICOs raising more money than that often. It's common today. But in 2013, that was really exciting to see that much money pouring into the Bitcoin ecosystem and starting to build upon it. So, and in 2014, we saw the number of merchants around the world accepting Bitcoin for payment. It skyrocketed from basically none in 2010 to just a few in 2011 to a couple in 2012 to 20,000 in 2013. That was respectable, and we crossed 100,000 merchants accepting Bitcoin for payments, online payments, right? Digital commerce, using Bitcoin as money to buy and sell things on the internet. More than 100,000 websites in 2014 were doing that. So it was really exciting to see. But then there was a change. Newer people in 2015 started to come into Bitcoin, and they began arguing that Bitcoin shouldn't be used as money. And I kid you not, people started arguing that people should be using credit cards instead of Bitcoin. And I've seen this with my own eyes. People at the Silicon Valley Bitcoin meetup group would literally come at a restaurant owned by a friend of mine that now accepts Bitcoin Cash, of course. But this is before Bitcoin Cash existed. They would show up at the meetup and literally argue with people, spend the evening arguing with people, telling them not to pay with Bitcoin for their meal at this restaurant that accepts Bitcoin for payments, and literally telling people at the Bitcoin meetup that they should be using credit cards instead of Bitcoin to pay for their meal, which is just mind-boggling for anybody that's been around Bitcoin for any time or understands Bitcoin. And we literally had people from Bitcoin Core and Blockstream saying that higher fees may be just what is needed. So they're literally arguing that people shouldn't use Bitcoin as money. That was really frustrating to see that happen. And of course, in 2016, we can see in this chart that altcoins like Ethereum started to really get a lot of traction because Bitcoin wasn't being allowed to scale for the world. And Bitcoin Core were literally driving developers and use cases away from Bitcoin. And if it hadn't been for these people, Ethereum would have been built on top of Bitcoin. All sorts of awesome token protocols were being built on top of Bitcoin. And Blockstream and the Bitcoin Core camp literally and intentionally undercut the ability to do these things on Bitcoin. And that's why we started seeing all these altcoins start to get traction. And that's why we saw in 2017, Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Cash went their separate ways. And the Bitcoin Core camp now, they think that Bitcoin can only be a store of value and doesn't need to be used in commerce. And they intentionally want high fees, slow confirmations with their side chains and their censorship imposing Blockstream Core team. While Bitcoin Cash supports free and open discussion, and we want to be peer-to-peer digital cash for the world with low fees, fast confirmation on-chain as described by Satoshi in the original vision for Bitcoin. And here in this chart, we can see in 2017 and 2018, It was the first time ever when the fees became over $50 for a single transaction on Bitcoin because the blocks became full on purpose. It was the first time in the entire history of Bitcoin in which the amount of daily transactions decreased over an extended period of time. That had never, ever, ever happened before in the entire history of Bitcoin. And the reason it happened is because people started using things other than Bitcoin. They're busy using Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Dash, take your pick. It's been an absolute disaster for Bitcoin caused by a bunch of people trying to centrally plan the amount of block space that the miners are allowed to produce. And we can see it very clearly in this chart here from 2017 to 2018. Bitcoin's percentage of the total market share of cryptocurrencies absolutely plummeted from being well over 90% to less than 50% today. Absolute disaster. And we can see in this chart the ICO market just went crazy over the last couple of years. Where many ICOs were raising over $1 billion total per month in ICO money. All of this would have been happening on top of the Bitcoin chain if it hadn't been for Bitcoin Core intentionally driving those use cases away and intentionally making it difficult for people to do that. And so that brings us to the next page, where anybody who has spent any time studying economics, they understand the idea of substitute goods. And substitute goods are basically just different goods that are the same. Coke and Pepsi, potatoes from Fred Farm or Sam's Farm, or bikes versus cars versus trains, McDonald's versus Burger King, tea versus coffee, Dash versus Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum versus Waze. Take your pick. There's all these different token platforms, all these different digital cash platforms. They're all competing against each other for market share. And I hear some of these BTC maximalists saying, why would anybody ever use anything other than Bitcoin? If it's faster, cheaper, and more reliable, of course people will switch. And there's some stickiness. There's some switching costs involved. But at $50 a transaction on BTC, you better believe that people were switching in a hurry. And we can see, here's a list of those substitute goods, right? You have, BTC was the original, but now you have Ripple and Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash and EOS and Stellar and on and on and on. There's thousands and thousands of competing substitute goods within the cryptocurrency market space. So now we'll focus back on, why did I choose to drop everything else in my life to focus on Bitcoin in 2011 when they were less than $1 each? Well, I made a chart here, and we can see that in 2011, Bitcoin had all these check marks, right? Fast, cheap, reliable, payments, non-reversible. Everything that made Bitcoin popular was there in 2011. In 2018 or 2019 now, it has none of those characteristics any longer. Bitcoin Cash has all those characteristics, and quite a few altcoins also have those characteristics as well. So the only thing that the BTC version of Bitcoin still has is its first mover advantage and the big network effect and the liquidity that comes along with it. But when it comes to being a peer-to-peer electronic cash system with low, fast, reliable payments, it no longer has it. So that's why I'm busy building on Bitcoin Cash. But what's the advantage of having a peer-to-peer electronic cash for the world? Well, Brian Armstrong, the founder and CEO of CoinBase, summed it up so well. It says that digital currency may be the most effective way the world has ever seen to increase economic freedom. If this happens, the implications are profound. It could lift many countries out of poverty, improve the lives of billions of people, and accelerate the pace of innovation in the world. What a fantastic goal. That's what digital currency does. A digital store of value doesn't do that. Digital currencies used as peer-to-peer cash for the world does. So great job, Brian Armstrong, summing up why that's so fantastic. And here we can see another really interesting chart. It's a list of the countries based on the amount of economic freedom they have in 2018. Hong Kong tops the list, followed by Singapore, New Zealand, Switzerland, Australia, Ireland, on and on and on. All fantastic places to live with really high standards of living, where people all over the world scrambling to move to those places because they're so great. And you have the list of countries with the least amount of economic freedom. You have countries like North Korea, Venezuela, and Cuba, countries that are so horrible that people are literally doing absolutely anything they can to escape from those countries. So it's very, very clear. Economic freedom leads to countries where people want to live, and the countries with less economic freedom are places where people don't want to live. And sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words. So here we have Hong Kong in the 1950s versus Hong Kong today. And you can see in that time it went from this little sleepy port town to this worldwide economic powerhouse where you can just feel the economic energy when you arrive in Hong Kong and see it there. Whereas in the same time frame, we have pictures of Cuba, and not much of anything changed in the exact same time frame there. And it's very, very clear, like Hong Kong with their huge amount of economic freedom became this world-class city, and Havana with their government control of the economy, not much happened at all at that time frame. And so we can see, why is economic freedom important? Well, because it leads to a higher per capita income, higher life expectancy, higher literacy rates, better income for the poorest 10%, improved environmental protection, fewer wars and violent conflicts, higher self-reported happiness of citizens in those countries, and less corruption and bribery. All of those are fantastic things that we want more of in our life. We want more per capita income, we want to live longer, we want more people to be able to read, we want the poor to have more money, we want everybody to have more money. We want all these fantastic things. Free markets enable it, statism is detrimental towards it. So here we can see the charts, right? The income level of people in the poorest 10% of the countries around the world versus the green is the most economically free, red is the least economically free. Wow, what a difference in this chart. People in countries with more economic freedom have, the poorest people in those countries have way more income. Good, poor people should have more income. Countries in economic freedom enable that, countries with less economic freedom don't. And here let's see the overall income per capita. Countries with more economic freedom have more income per capita than countries with less economic freedom. The correlation is so incredibly clear here in this chart. And again, adult literacy rates, the correlation is incredibly clear. Countries with more economic freedom have more people who know how to read than ones that don't. Is that cause or effect there, or correlation or causation? I don't know, but the correlation is definitely very, very, very clear there again. And here we can see life expectancies. In countries with more economic freedom means they have more, income per GDP or per person there. You can afford to spend more on healthcare. You're going to live longer in countries. And it's not just a little bit longer, it's on the ballpark of 20 years longer for your average life expectancy in countries with more economic freedom versus countries with less economic freedom. And here we can see unemployment, right? In countries with more economic freedom, more people are able to get a job. So you have more unemployment in less economically unfree countries, and less unemployment in economically free countries. If you want more people to have jobs, more economic freedom enables that too. Infant mortality, right? Like it's a huge, huge difference. Countries with more economic freedom have more babies survive childbirth. So yes, babies are literally dying in regards to the amount of economic freedom countries have around the world. So if you want more babies to survive childbirth, you need to be busy advocating for more economic freedom. Very plain as day. And children in the labor force. If you want fewer children to be forced into the labor force from a very young age, countries with more economic freedom have enabled that through their higher standard of living than countries with less economic freedom. So you have way more children forced into the labor force based on their economic circumstances in less economically free countries than ones that don't. So correlation doesn't prove causation, of course, but when we see example after example, both in theory and in practice, of more economic freedom leading to better results for rich and poor alike, we can make some super, super strong inferences. And so that brings us back to digital cash's impact on economic freedom, and Bitcoin Cash specifically, but any digital currency that acts as peer-to-peer electronic cash, because it makes it easier to start a business, it enforces property rights, it promotes free trade, enables freedom of contract, it enables people to opt out of corrupt systems and corrupt governments, and short and simple, it brings more economic freedom to the world. So digital currencies and Bitcoin Cash make all the things we just went over, the longer lifespans, the higher standard of living, the more money for rich and poor alike, more babies surviving childbirth. Bitcoin Cash enables all of that, and so we should be busy supporting digital currencies that act as digital cash, and Bitcoin Cash is right there first and foremost for me in my book because of its giant network effect. And Brian Armstrong sums it up well. If we can create more economic freedom in the world, which we can by advocating digital currencies, it will serve as a giant economic stimulus package for the world, accelerate innovation, reduce wars, make the poorest 10% better off, overthrow corrupt governments, and raise happiness. Wow, great job, Brian, summing that up. That's why I'm in this. That's why Brian's in this. That's why pretty much everybody that's a fan of peer-to-peer electronic cash systems are in this. We want to bring more economic freedom to the world because that makes the world a better place. And that's why I say Bitcoin Cash and digital currencies are the best tools the world has ever seen to accomplish these goals. That's why I'm involved. That's why I'm here every day. I don't need to be here. I'm here because I want to make the world a better place. And that's why I was the very first investor in the entire world to get involved in this space, and that's why I'm here to this day, very day, promoting it. And if you like that, send your friends and family over to bitcoin.com to get started. Head to free.bitcoin.com to get some free Bitcoin Cash, and help make the world a better place. Tell a friend. Thank you all so much for your time. And sorry I couldn't be there in person, but here we are. Thank you. All right, I hope everyone in Slovenia found that history of Bitcoin fascinating, but as promised, we have a very, very special surprise for you. If you look under your seat right now, you'll find our free golden ticket. We're giving free Bitcoin Cash to each and every one of you. All you need to claim it is the Bitcoin.com wallet available in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. And you will install the app and you just scan it. It's under your seat. And you get a random amount of Bitcoin Cash. Just like that. No sign up required. You don't have to give your name, you don't have to give your email, you don't have to give your tax ID number. And then you can send and receive that Bitcoin Cash with anyone anywhere in the world. Basically for them. There's nothing to do with this house. It's a really, really beautiful, liberating, and wonderful all around. So pull out that golden ticket from your seat, install the Bitcoin.com wallet, and today, and share the idea with your friends. So you can see just how amazing this technology is for the world. So I hope to see you all there in person next year. Thank you all so much for your time and attention. See you then.